Hello. This module is about JavaScript object-oriented programming. In other words, we will talk a lot about JavaScript objects. This first video will focus on JavaScript object properties. The properties are these small parts in the object descriptions that describe the object's characteristics. So far, we mainly saw what we call object literals or singleton objects. They are objects that use this syntax. You use the let or the var keyword followed by the name of the object, by braces, and between braces you've got some pairs, property name, colons, and property value. In order to access the properties, you use the name of the object, JS1. You use the dot operator followed by the name of the properties. JS1.weeks will display the value of the weeks properties for the object JS1. The JavaScript 1 course lasts 5 weeks. You can also access other properties like author, Michel Buffard. Then let's have a look at some array. Here we've got an array named darkvardor1 as an array, and you can access the different elements of an array using brackets followed by the index, 0 being the first element. So darkvardor1 as an array bracket 0 will display villain, that is the value of the first element. If we look at darkvardor as an object, in that case, we use the dot operator and the name of the property, job. If you look at the two notations, the one with the array and the one with the property name and the dot operator, they look rather similar. And if you look at the type of the darkvardor1 as an array variable, it's an object. In fact, objects declared with brackets, with braces and pairs of property and names are very, very similar to arrays because arrays are objects too. So if I use the name of the property with the bracket notation, look at that, darkvardor as an object, bracket, quote, the name of the property, job, then, sorry, I forgot a quote, yes, you've got the exact same result as if you're using the dot operator. So, in JavaScript, objects are arrays whose indexes are the property names. So they are very, very similar. Look at this object named book, book.title, Le Petit Prince, and book brackets quote title will give exactly the same results. So why would you use this notation for accessing properties? It's because in some cases you can have some property names that include spaces or that start with a number. For example, if I write this book first date of publication as an index, it works. And if I type the object book, I can see that I define the property that is named first publication. But if I use the dot notation, and if I try to set this property, it's invalid because the property name, when used with the dot notation, cannot start with a number. It's the same if we've got property names that contain spaces, like date of publication. I can define a property that has spaces in its name using brackets, but not using the dot notation. The bracket notation can also be useful when you've got the name of the property in a variable. For example, I've got in the variable named key the title property name, and I want to access book.title, except that in that case the name of the property is the value of the key variable. If I type key equal name, key name, book2, that is an object with the name, I can type book2.key. It's exactly the same as typing book2.title name, sorry. You can also have objects that contain objects. The book2 object here has a property name author that in turn is an object. It uses brackets and a pair of property values. In that case, you can chain the dot operator to access the sub-properties. So book2.author is an object. book2.author.family name will access the family name property of the author object that is a property of book2. And it gives header